Have you ever looked at someone for just a single second and somehow forgotten where you were? Because honestly, that's exactly what it felt like. The lights hadn't even reached their brightest point yet. The music was only beginning to pulse through the stadium. Thousands of army bombs shimmered like an endless purple galaxy across Paris, and then, he stepped into the spotlight. Jimin. Not running. Not trying to steal attention. Just walking. And somehow, that quiet entrance felt louder than fireworks. You guys, can we talk about this for a second? How does he keep doing this? How can someone simply take one step onto a stage and make nearly 70,000 people forget to breathe? That night in Paris wasn't just another stop on BTS ARIRANG World Tour. The city already carried its own magic. Elegant streets. Historic architecture. The birthplace of so much fashion, art, and creativity. Everything about Paris seemed to whisper beauty. Yet somehow, Jimin managed to become the most beautiful thing in the entire city. The moment the giant screens focused on him, an ocean of screams exploded across the stadium. Not because he was trying to be dramatic. Not because he was forcing an expression. Simply because he existed in that exact moment. Soft curls moved gently with the evening breeze. The stage lights reflected across every detail of his outfit, making the fabric almost glow against the darkness surrounding him. And that's when fans began noticing something extraordinary. His outfit. Elegant. Sharp. Modern. Every line seemed perfectly sculpted for movement. The tailoring wasn't loud or excessive. Instead, it carried a quiet confidence that somehow matched Jimin's own personality. It wasn't trying to overpower him. It was following him. Almost as if the clothing itself understood who was wearing it. Social media would later become flooded with close-up photos from every possible angle. People zoomed in on the stitching. The silhouette. The texture beneath the lights. Fashion enthusiasts started discussing every little detail, admiring how beautifully the look blended classic sophistication with contemporary design. Then another conversation quietly began spreading across fan communities. What if Jonathan Anderson could see this? Not because anyone claimed he had. Not because there was any confirmed reaction. Just imagine. Imagine being a designer. You spend countless hours sketching ideas no one else can see. You rethink proportions. You adjust fabrics. You search for something that isn't just stylish, but emotional. Then one day, an artist like Jimin walks onto one of the biggest stages in the world wearing something inspired by that vision. Can you even imagine what that would feel like? Honestly, that thought alone gave fans chills. Because Jimin has always possessed a rare ability. He doesn't simply wear fashion. He tells stories through it. Every movement transformed the outfit. Every spin caught the light differently. Every graceful turn revealed another detail people hadn't noticed before. The fabric seemed almost alive. Soft during slower moments. Powerful the instant the choreography exploded. It wasn't just clothing anymore. It became part of the performance itself. And that's something Jimin has mastered throughout his career. He never fights against what he's wearing. He dances with it. You could see it during every extension of his arms. Every elegant shoulder movement. Every controlled breath between verses. Nothing felt accidental. Nothing felt rehearsed in a mechanical way. Instead, everything looked natural. Almost effortless. Of course, ARMY noticed immediately. Phones across the stadium lifted into the air. Some fans forgot to record because they were too busy staring. Others were crying before the first chorus had even finished. Can we blame them? Because there was something incredibly emotional about watching someone completely comfortable in their own artistry. No need to prove anything. No need to chase attention. Jimin simply stood there. And attention found him. But here's the part that made everything even more unforgettable. As breathtaking as the outfit looked while he stood still, It wasn't until the choreography truly began that everyone realized why fans couldn't stop talking about it. The music suddenly shifted. The bass echoed through the stadium. Jimin lowered his gaze for just a heartbeat. And then, with one impossibly graceful movement, the entire atmosphere changed. And just when everyone thought the outfit had already revealed its full beauty, Paris was about to witness the moment that would leave fans replaying the performance over and over again. The first beat dropped, and everything changed. Not gradually. Not little by little. In a single heartbeat, the elegant figure standing beneath the spotlight transformed into pure motion. Every step landed perfectly on the rhythm, every turn flowed effortlessly into the next, and suddenly the outfit everyone had been admiring wasn't just something beautiful to look at anymore. It became part of the dance. You guys. Did you notice how the fabric seemed to move a split second after Jimin did? Almost like it had its own heartbeat. Every dramatic spin sent the silhouette sweeping through the air with incredible precision. The structured tailoring stayed sharp, while the softer details flowed around him like waves catching moonlight. It wasn't simply fashion. It was choreography meeting craftsmanship. Honestly, that's probably why so many clips from Paris immediately went viral. Fans weren't only replaying the choreography. They were replaying the movement of the outfit itself. Again. And again. And again. One slow-motion edit turned into hundreds. Then thousands. People zoomed in on tiny details that almost no one could fully appreciate in real time. The way the jacket caught the stage lights. The subtle shimmer hidden within the fabric. The perfectly balanced proportions that made every movement feel even more elegant. Some fans even joked that the clothing had learned Jimin's choreography before anyone else. And somehow, it didn't even sound like an exaggeration. Because every time he extended his arms, the entire silhouette seemed to bloom. Every graceful body roll gave the fabric another opportunity to tell its own story. Every spin painted invisible circles across the air. How does someone make clothing feel alive? Honestly, only Jimin could make people ask a question like that. The cameras followed him closely, but there were moments when even the broadcast couldn't quite capture what it felt like inside the stadium. The atmosphere. It was electric. Purple lights stretched endlessly across the audience like an ocean of stars. The music echoed through every corner of the venue, vibrating beneath everyone's feet. You could actually hear the crowd reacting before certain moves happened. That's how familiar ARMY had become with Jimin's performances. The second he prepared for a signature movement, thousands of voices screamed in anticipation. Then, boom. The move landed perfectly. The cheers became almost deafening. People around the stadium laughed through tears. Others covered their mouths in complete disbelief. Some fans simply stood frozen, unable to process what they had just witnessed. It wasn't because the choreography was new. It wasn't because the outfit was expensive. It was because everything came together at exactly the right moment. Performance. Music. Lighting. Emotion. Fashion. And at the very center of it all, Jimin. Can we just appreciate something for a moment? Jimin never wears confidence like armor. He wears it quietly. There's something incredibly gentle about the way he carries himself. Even during powerful choreography, there's always softness hiding beneath every movement. His expressions never feel forced. A tiny smile. A brief glance toward the audience. The smallest lift of his eyebrows. Those little moments somehow connect with tens of thousands of people all at once. How is that even possible? Then came one of the night's most unforgettable moments. The music softened. The lights dimmed into shades of deep blue and violet. Everything slowed. Jimin stood completely still. Just for a second. One hand resting naturally by his side. His breathing visible after the intense choreography. The stadium, somehow, became quiet. Not silent. but emotionally quiet. As though everyone instinctively understood they were witnessing something special. A gentle breeze drifted across the open stadium. The edge of his jacket moved ever so slightly. His hair shifted with the wind. He looked toward the crowd with calm, grateful eyes. That single look lasted only a moment. Yet fans would spend hours talking about it afterward. Some described it as comforting. Others said it felt emotional. Many simply admitted they couldn't explain why they suddenly wanted to cry. Sometimes, the smallest moments become the biggest memories. And then social media exploded once again. Photos from every angle appeared within minutes. Fashion pages admired the tailoring. Performance accounts highlighted how naturally the outfit complemented the choreography. Fan editors paired slow-motion clips with emotional music, creating edits that quickly spread across every platform. That's when another conversation quietly gained momentum. Imagine. Just imagine. If the creative minds behind the design were scrolling through those videos later that night. Imagine seeing thousands upon thousands of comments praising not only the craftsmanship of the outfit, but the way Jimin transformed it into something unforgettable. No confirmed reactions. No official statements. Just fans letting their imaginations wander. Some wrote, "If I had designed that look, I'd never stop smiling." Others joked, "I'd frame every photo from Paris." And many playfully imagined Jonathan Anderson watching the performance and sitting there completely speechless, not because of the clothes alone, but because of the way Jimin gave them life on stage. That idea spread because it captured something fans often feel. A truly great design doesn't end in the studio. It begins there. But it reaches its full meaning when someone brings it to life. And watching Jimin perform that night, it was easy to understand why so many people felt exactly that way. But believe it or not, the most emotional moment of the evening still hadn't happened. Because after all the breathtaking choreography, after the thunderous applause, after Paris had already fallen completely under Jimin's spell, there was one quiet gesture. So small that many people almost missed it. Yet once fans noticed it, they couldn't stop talking about it. One final song echoed across the stadium, and for the first time that night, the energy shifted. The explosive cheers were still there. The purple lights still stretched endlessly into the Paris sky. But something felt different. It was softer. More personal. Almost as if everyone inside the stadium realized they wanted to hold on to this moment just a little longer. Jimin slowly walked toward the front of the stage, taking his time as he looked around the sea of army bombs glowing beneath him. There was no rush. No dramatic gesture. Just a quiet smile that somehow spoke louder than words. Honestly, can we talk about that smile? It wasn't the smile of someone celebrating a successful performance. It was the smile of someone genuinely grateful. He looked from one side of the stadium to the other, making eye contact with different sections of the crowd, waving gently as thousands of fans waved back with tears in their eyes. It felt less like a concert, and more like a conversation between an artist and the people who have walked beside him for years. Then came a tiny moment that many fans immediately clipped and shared online. Jimin glanced down at his outfit for just a brief second before softly adjusting the jacket. It was such a simple movement. Almost invisible. But fans couldn't stop talking about it. Not because it was dramatic, but because it reminded everyone that behind the global superstar was still the same humble Jimin who always treats every stage, every performance, and every detail with care. And somehow, that tiny gesture made the entire look feel even more iconic. Throughout the night, the outfit had become part of the performance. Now, it became part of the memory. That's why fans kept imagining the story behind it. The hours of sketching. The careful tailoring. The countless creative decisions that eventually led to this single night in Paris. And then Jimin stepped onto the stage, adding something no designer could ever sew into fabric. Emotion. Warmth. Humanity. That's the magic fans were celebrating. Not simply luxury fashion. Not simply a beautiful silhouette. But the rare moment when incredible design met an artist capable of filling it with life. That's also why so many ARMY playfully imagine Jonathan Anderson watching the performance and sitting there speechless. Not because anyone claimed it really happened, but because that's how extraordinary the performance felt. When art meets artistry, it's easy to imagine even the people behind the scenes becoming emotional. As the final notes faded into the Paris night, confetti slowly drifted through the air like tiny pieces of silver snow. Jimin looked upward for a moment. The lights reflected across the falling confetti. The stadium erupted into one last wave of applause so powerful it almost drowned out the music itself. You could hear people laughing. You could hear people crying. Some fans simply stood still, trying to memorize every second before it disappeared forever. Because that's the strange thing about unforgettable moments. While they're happening, you already know they'll soon become memories. And maybe that's why this night felt so emotional. It wasn't just another stop on the ARIRANG World Tour. It became one of those performances fans will revisit years from now. Not only because of the choreography. Not only because of the breathtaking stage production. Not only because of the stunning fashion. But because everything came together to create a feeling that can't really be explained. Only experienced. Long after the stadium lights dimmed, Paris continued talking. Fan edits continued appearing. Photographs continued spreading across social media. New viewers discovered the performance. Old fans watched it all over again. And every replay seemed to reveal another tiny detail that had gone unnoticed before. A smile. A glance. A graceful turn. The way the stage lights danced across the fabric. The way Jimin transformed every movement into something that felt completely effortless. That's why people say some performances don't end when the music stops. They continue living inside the hearts of everyone who witnessed them. And honestly, this felt like one of those nights. If you felt even a fraction of the emotions we shared today, let us know in the comments. What was your favorite moment from Jimin's unforgettable Paris performance? Was it his breathtaking stage presence, the incredible outfit, or simply the way he connected with ARMY? We'd love to read your thoughts. And if you're as excited as we are to relive more unforgettable BTS and Jimin moments from the ARIRANG World Tour, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next story. Until next time. Keep supporting BTS. Keep shining with ARMY. And never stop believing in the beautiful moments that music creates. See you in the next video.